I call you Max? That's all right.
I'm originally from Romania, the same province as Edith, but she's from the northern part and I'm from the southern part. So you probably would like to know more what happened during the war. In 1940, Romania became an ally of Germany, part of the Axis, of the Rome-Berlin Axis. And within 1 year, introduced all the anti-Jewish laws Germany had took 8 years to introduce. On the 12th of October, we were told that we have to leave our homes, leave everything there with the keys in the lock, deposit all the valuables at the National Bank, take along food for 3 days, and we should gather at the railroad station because we'll be resettled in that new territory. I was 17 years old. There was a slaughterhouse next to that camp. It was a German captain came and asked whether there is a bookkeeper who speaks German, a German bookkeeper. Well, I spoke German, but I wasn't a bookkeeper. I just had finished 10th grade. So, but somehow, what made he, I don't know, but I said, yes, I'm a bookkeeper. So he looked at me, and evidently he liked me. I was blonde, I had blue eyes. So he took me, and I became the bookkeeper of that slaughterhouse. Well, I was lucky because there were some Russian bookkeepers who I could communicate with, but the Germans couldn't. So actually, I was the chief bookkeeper, but I learned from them. They were the bookkeepers. This was my luck because after the Germans left and the Romanians took over the camp, the slaughterhouse, I was kept there. It was slave labor. I wasn't paid for the work, but I just had food. I was able to take some food from there and feed my mother and my sister. Although I had work there, that doesn't mean that I was protected whenever they came in to look for workers outside the camp. So twice I was caught for work outside the camp. First I was to a sugar factory in Debrecen, in Deportation. In the sugar factory, it was hard work there, that's the sugar campaign, but they gave us at least food. But then, other times I was taken to Djurin, where they were taking us from pit bogs, from swamps, and there you had to stay in these swamps to take out with your hand the pit bogs and just fill them in forms. And I broke there my leg, my right leg. How I got back to camp, I don't know. I don't know how I made it. It was about 40 miles from where the war was after the war ended. But I came back to camp. They tied my foot and some wires, and it kind of time it healed. In that camp we were for almost 2.5 years. The Russians came in March of 1944 to liberate us. And people, whoever survived there, from the originally 4,000, about 1,800 survived. But the first thing they were happy, they got food as soon as the Russians came in. And from that food afterwards, dozens of people just died because they were not used to eat food. So the house we had left was changed. They made out of it a school. They took out walls. We had In the back we had stables for 20 horses. My father was a veterinarian, so a horse breeder. So these horses were taken away by the army before we were deported. But that stable were destroyed. So what I decided I should go back to school. So in a couple of months I finished 7th and 8th grade of in high school, which means like here 11th and 12th grade. Because I started with 5th grade. So the first years were very hard. We got married in 1950. It was 5 years after the Holocaust, and that community, about 6,000 Jews were deported from that community where we showed the Sus. About 400 youngsters returned, and they started just to redo their lives. And after 5 years, it was we still did not outgrow it. And when I got married, my mother, we invited 10 guests, and my mother prepared some roast for 2 chickens, and this was our wedding. And it's things change, and it was, and it just happened, and that weekend we got married, a child was born. People, back from deportation were not, the girls were not ready, were not sure whether they'd be able to have children, because, but somehow a child was born. It was a big celebration. A child was born. So it was, let's just tell you what happened. After we were liberated, I told you the Germans came to bomb the camp. So I was next to a little house, and I thought when the bomb falls on the house, next to the house, I'm killed. When the bomb falls in the house, I'm killed too. So there's no point hiding in the house. But I figured that the house had a bunk bed, a heavy bunk bed there. If I go under the bed, and even if the house would fall in, I would survive under that bed. So just imagine to hide under the bed because bombs were falling, over the house. Yeah. But my thinking was, if we go under the bed, I'll be protected, because that house was just shambles, was not much of a house.
Well, it's an instinct. The cats do that, right?
So yeah, so certain things sometimes you do things which you get. Or it was, just imagine what made me. I was 70 years old. What made me tell that guy that I'm a bookkeeper, that I know accounting, and I didn't. Mm-hmm. So it's something which gives you. So if you think back, something that saves your life. Certain things which save your life because you did something which you didn't think of at the time. There was a big difference between Germany and between Romania. When Germany deported their people, they deported them organized. They killed them organized, but they deported them organized. Everything was organized. The shipments were organized, the receipt was organized, everything was organized. Romania didn't organize anything. They just shipped us out. They took over the administration on October 8th. They signed that they are taking over the administration. On October 12th, they haven't taken over yet. They pushed us out. They thought at the time that they're going to push us probably out on the Einsatzgruppen. There was special units who followed the German troops on their advance into the Soviet Union, who killed Jews and killed communists and killed people. And actually there is no little city, little town east of the Truth River who should not have its mass graves. But this is maybe was their thinking. They're going to ship us out on on the path of that Einsatzgruppe, but when we got there, the Einsatzgruppe had passed already. They killed whatever they had killed. And there was nobody there. You know, it took, when we got to that camp, the militia was in charge. There was a young militiaman, he was about 18 years old. Misha was his name. He used to run around with a whip. And just he used just to hit people for no reason. He knew already that he can hit Jews. And there was there in that little camp, there was a synagogue building. It was a very solid building. And hundreds of people just found their shelter, that synagogue. And a woman was standing, I don't know where she got 2 eggs outside. The wind was blowing, and she was just cooking these 2 eggs. So the militiaman came, and with his foot he just threw away that tripod in which she kept the eggs. And not only this, but he forced them to take the hot eggs in her hands. Just imagine, just cruelty. And these are people who learn cruelty just overnight. They were Ukrainian militias who were actually the Soviet. This is the story. You see, when I told you we were first, when we were transnistria first, we ended up in Mogilev in these barracks, and then 1,000 people at a time were shipped into the interior. We had to go by foot. In our way there to that final destination, we stopped in the collective farm, in the kolkhoz, overnight. And I had with me my father's Omega watch, and I was afraid that tonight they could steal it from me, so I put it in a chimney there. But at night they came and just pushed it out from there and left, and the watch was left there. 2.5 years later, on my way back from camp, I stopped there in Skandinets. That house where we were stayed there was gone, but the chimney was still there. So I just took me some time, and I did find the watch under these rubbish, there. It's the arms were gone and the glass were broken, but I had a watch. So these are certain things which can happen. So something to remember. Well, it's a thing. For instance, I went to see Schindler's List. In Schindler's List, they showed the evacuation of the city of Krakow. It reminded me the way our city was evacuated. So, I really don't go to see this movie. I went to see that movie because it was interesting. But it's something, the old story, it says there's a young girl, American girl, goes to Europe and comes home and tells grandmother what she saw in Europe. I saw this and saw this and saw this. The grandmother said, "You're telling me I came from there." So that's the story. I lived through it. So what a movie going to tell me? But the truth is that things happen differently. It happened differently for different people under different circumstances.
All right. So yes, you can come over here and look at the picture. No, don't touch here. Just go over here. Can you manage?
I'll go around.
Yes, that would be the best.
God, that's me. That's me, no definite, no question about it. You even fix my hair. It looks better on the picture than on that. Very nice. Very nice. This is our house in Radauti, our mansion. Sorry. This is our house.
Mm.